Welcome to Lifing 101, a journey through life's experiences, challenges, and interpretations. An intriguing and soul-refining podcast that explores the countless twists of life. Get ready to be amused, enlightened, entertained, empowered, and inspired. Hosted by Tina C. Christian, your MC with the LPC, and guest co-host Lorenda McKinney, your MC with the PhD.
Welcome, lovely listeners, to an exciting episode of Lifing 101 podcast,
where we dive into life's little mysteries and offer you insights to help you lead a happier, more fulfilling life.
I'm your MC with the LPC, Tina C. Christian, navigating y'all through this journey up and down and all around on this emotional roller coaster we call life.
And I'm your MC with the PhD, Lorenda McKinney. So grab your favorite beverage, find a comfortable spot, sit back and relax while we embark on this restorative journey together.
Good morning, afternoon, and or evening out there to all our lovely listeners. Today, we're diving into the topic of expectations, or more specifically, the expectation or the unrealistic expectation of others when we expect them to act as we do. So, Dot, what's your thoughts on that?
Okay, so when I hear stop expecting you out of other people, because we all do, regardless if we admit to it or not. It's like you assume that people are going to behave and react the way you would. And then it leads us to frustration when people do not behave and react the way that we would do it in the situation. So are we the problem or are they the problem?
Honestly, I feel like, me personally, I think we are the problem when we expect other people to act or reciprocate the behaviors or gestures or things that we do to or for others, because everybody is different. And I know I used to tell someone all the time, you set yourself up for failure when you have certain expectations of people that they can't meet. So you're expecting them to do what you would do instead of expecting what they can do or what they are capable of doing, because not everyone is going to be like you. Not everyone is as strong as you, or they don't have the same feelings, emotions, or anything. So
that's perfect, Tina. Expectations is the big word in this, because when you set the expectations high and you put people on pedestals, you end up the one looking like a fool because they didn't tell you they was going to behave that way.
Right.
They've showed you who they are.
Yes.
And you're supposed to believe it the first time.
Correct.
So if you get upset about the way they responded because you felt like they should have, then it really is our fault. Shame on us, because they didn't tell us that they were going to behave that way. We just want to believe if we're good to people, they're going to be back good to us, but that does not mean that.
Right. And there's good and bad in all people, and people's situations are different. It could be certain situations where they may act a certain way, or you may act differently in that situation. So they may act like you in certain situations, but in others they don't, and then we talked about us personally, people's love language. And so sometimes people act differently. They may give or do things for you and you're not the same, or vice versa.
Right.
Because I've been guilty in relationships, feeling like, oh God, like you have a friend that's always giving gifts, or a friend that's always calling and checking in on you and stuff. And then you feel guilty when you don't do it.
Right.
But everyone is different, or vice versa. You may be doing these things, but then if you're getting upset because other people aren't doing it, you can't. You're expecting them to be you.
It's true. And then people are also different with other people.
Yeah.
So the way their relationship is for one person, they may not reciprocate the same way with you. And
True.
The love languages, as we were discussing personally, basically, like you said, I could be a giver and I'm just automatically thinking that you're going to pick up on that and be a giver too. But if that's not how you give love, then you're going to do it through service, and it's going to value the same because you're giving your most, because that's where you value me, is by doing things for me or helping me when I need it. Where I may go to the store and see something and say, Tina would love this, but it doesn't mean one is any less valuable than the other.
Right. And then we you touched on like apology language also. I like that when we were talking the other day. Everyone is not going to be as apologetic as you, or they're not going to apologize the same way you, or they don't even know how to apologize. And they may apologize by giving a gift or something like that. But you can't expect people to act the same way that you act. Right. I know I have in the past allowed that to really frustrate me and get me off my square, because I'm a giver and not in the monetary way, but I'm a caregiver and I'm a giver and I'm a helper and I'm a problem solver. And so I'm always doing things for people and overextending myself to others. And then I end up being resentful or angry because I don't get that same in return, when I really don't have a reason to be angry at them for not giving that in return, because that's not them. That's me.
Right, right. And then we all heard this, what goes around comes around. So it may not come from the person you're expecting it from, but it did come back around, the blessing that you gave out. So, but with apology language, it is different for everybody, because you have those people that never apologize. They just start texting you again. And you're like, wait a minute. So me personally, I'll bring up a joke or something like, hey, so you are alive. Because like, you don't just get to, that's kind of unfair to some people. If it's a huge thing and something you really should have been apologizing for, and then you just act like it's over with and you just call or text like nothing. Like, no, at least address it, because it's going to be an elephant in the room. Even if the person pretends that they're over it, they're probably not over it. They're just trying to see how to bring it back up. And you're better off bringing it up then you think you're healthy, and then it comes back up and then you have another fallout.
Right. Yeah. And then like you said, some people, they just don't know how to maybe apologize, or some people just feel like if they just don't touch it, then it'll just go away.
Yeah.
Or some people use tragedies or, good events to come back in and just like, so say for instance, you fall out, you're not talking or something. So something tragic happens. Oh, this will be a good time to call them. Because now I have something tragic and I'm just back in there and things are back to normal. Or if something really good is happening, somebody's getting married or, something like that. Oh, this is a good time to call. I'm back in there. Well, no.
Right. No. And I'm going to tell you a little something about me. Now, if it's a good thing and you show up with a gift, I am taking the gift. By all means. Call it apology language, love language. I deserve this language. You show up with a gift and I'm going to take the gift for sure.
Yeah. Right. But no, I mean, I don't expect a me out of people. I do expect respect out of people. That's my thing, is if you can respect me in whatever way, how that's okay. But I don't expect a me out of people. But I'm human, and I do sometimes get a little frustrated that some people aren't more courteous or respectful or
considerate.
Giving and considerate. Consideration.
Just consider it. So I'm going to say I'm probably guilty of expecting me out of people, because I do understand, even though I didn't say it with my mouth, that I want you to do this. You've seen how I handle you. You see how I handle other people I love. So you know that that's my handle language. Look at there, a whole other word, handle language. I do want some of that reciprocated without me having to tell you. So I am probably guilty of expecting me out of people from certain people. Certain people, those expectations are not there because our relationship is not on that level.
That's the key there, the relationship that you have with people. And so that's why I say with respect, if you have a relationship with someone, they should have that mutual respect for you. And even though it's not expecting you expect that respect and to a certain level out of that person that you have a certain relationship with. If somebody on the streets that I don't know you from Adam, I don't expect anything from you.
Right.
Other than some sort of mutual type of respect, don't disrespect me. But when we're in a certain relationship, whether it's a friendship, siblings, parents, spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, you have a different level of respect that you expect from them.
Right.
So I don't expect a me out of them, but I expect a certain level of respect. And so again, the expectations, I guess it's realistic to have an expectation of a certain level of respect.
I agree with that.
To what level, maybe that's where the error comes in. Maybe we're expecting more than what we should be getting.
I think people pretty much kind of train you what to expect from them in a way, because during the relationship or friendship, situationship, entanglement, whatever y'all out here doing. I think that people teach you, like, I kind of know what I'm going to get from that person based on our relationship and our history. But I also probably will tend to behave toward that person based on that too. So you don't end up being so disappointed. It's the people that I think you really do think you have a close relationship with, and they flip the script on you, or their true colors come out. Because they say a lot of times people don't change. The real them just showed up.
Right.
So it's not like they really changed, but you do catch yourself just feeling like, I thought that person would do this for me.
Right. To speak to what you were just saying about you didn't think that they would do that to you, you kind of teach people how to treat you. Right. So yeah, if they do, then that relationship meant something. So right. It means something to you. So you care. With other people, you don't even really care. Right. So yeah, definitely. You're like, okay, I'm treating you with respect. This is how I handle you. Right. I would expect the same in return. Right. But again, to what level or degree can they? Because that's what I've always said. Are we expecting something from people that they can't actually give? Because, we're all a product of our environment, our backgrounds, our upbringings, our childhood traumas and adverse, situations in our lives and things that we have that have shaped us into who we have become. So if you think about it, if someone was raised in a household where they never apologized, or if they weren't expected to have that same type of mutual respect with each other in those relationships, then maybe that's just how they are. It's nothing personal and they just can't give it. But if the relationship is important to you, then it would be important to actually discuss that with that person.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe address it, but you brought up a good point, because they may not be loving you the way that you would like them to, but to them, they could be loving you with everything they have to give. Yeah. So just because it doesn't look like what you want, that doesn't mean they're not giving their all. But once again, communication, talking and listening, because once you tell a person what you need, it's up to that person to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to be real honest with you. I can't give you that because I don't have that to give, but I will give you everything that I have to give. And if it doesn't meet your expectations, I don't know, maybe it's not a friendship for you. I don't know. That's a decision you would have to make.
True, because every relationship is not going to be a successful one, and everyone is not meant to be in your life and or forever. Like they say, relationships and or people are for reasons and seasons and things like that.
I'm so glad you brought that up. So this morning I was listening to Tyler Perry. It was a little reel on Facebook. And he was saying people are leaves, branches, and roots. And he was saying the leaves kind of just blow wherever the wind comes, and the leaves just kind of blow away. Those are those friends. Then you have your branches. They're a little stronger than the leaves. So they may hang on a little longer, and they'll put up with a little more, probably chaos or problems or whatever. Right. And then you have the roots that are very strong and they kind of grow with you or whatever. And I might not be saying this exactly the way he said it, because look at him. I mean, he got coins.
Right.
So he's probably a little smarter than me in that area. But I listened to it because we always say seasons, lifetimes, and reasons. So the leaves, the branches, and the roots stood out to me. So kind of when you evaluate people in your life and you have those people you feel like are around to lift you up, the people that are just around, and then the people that bring you down. Kind of think about it so you can reevaluate things. Everybody's not meant to stay forever. So you just can simply just not hold on to everybody forever because they're not meant to be around.
Right. And, you kind of allow people to treat you certain type of ways for what you put up with.
Right.
So yes, you can't expect a you out of them, but you can expect respect, and you can communicate the type and the level of respect that you expect from them. Right. And if they can and are willing, because that's key, if they can and they are willing to give you that level of mutual respect or your expected respect, then they can or they will. But again, if they don't or they can't, that's when you will have to decide what's best for you. Yeah. You can't get upset for something someone cannot give you, and you can't get upset if you didn't communicate your needs to others.
Right. So you decide if you want to use the scissors and cut the relationship off, or if you want to deal with it. But it's also not worth it to keep somebody around trying to think you can force them to change, because you can't. That's exhausting. Or thinking that you're just going to wait around for them and eventually you'll love them so much that they'll eventually just do what you want them to do, because you're really wasting your time.
Right. Change is internal. That's something that they have to want to do and see a need to do. Because if they don't think anything is wrong with them, why in the hell would they change? I mean, I know that's me too. Like,
exactly.
If I see a problem, or if someone brings something to me and say, hey, I don't like the way you do this, that, the other, I'm going to evaluate it, and evaluate myself. But if I feel like it's not an issue, then I'm not going to change, because that's my choice. And so that's with everybody. If they don't think it's an issue or they don't want to change, they could know it's an issue and just choose not to change. Well, hell, they're not going to, and you can't change them. So if you're expecting them to change, even after you've said it and they choose not to, then again, that's like you said, you have to decide, is this going to be something I'm going to hang on to? But you can't continue to stress yourself out worrying about them being like you. Not everyone is alike.
Right.
We're all unique. That's great. I'm glad, because it would be boring if we were all the same. So
right.
Definitely.
And then, people's famous words, you know what they're going to say. You knew what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to be like, why are we still arguing and debating this? You know what it is.
Yeah.
So you have to decide, do you want to deal with what it is, not what it could be, because you have to deal with what's right in front of you. You can't make things up. Of course, we all hope things will get better, but you just can't invest that type of energy into trying to change a grown person.
Right. And that's why I said you teach people how to treat you.
Right.
Based off of what you allow.
Right.
And what you, discuss and communicate.
Right. And what you
everything.
accept. And if you continue to deal with them, then what are you doing? You're giving them the pass.
Mm-hmm. Acceptance is key. If you've accepted that behavior, especially if you continue to accept certain things and you don't say anything, then that person
That's
is going to be, they're going to be really confused and frustrated too, because this is what you've been doing. This is what I've been doing. What's the problem now?
Right.
So I say, create those boundaries, or, in that communication, to make sure that you are communicating your needs in that relationship, and not necessarily expecting but expecting what is real and achievable from that particular person that you're in a relationship with.
Right. And you don't have to do a PowerPoint presentation on your boundaries.
No.
You don't. The way that you allow those people to treat you, people will see that from a mile away. Like, they already know she ain't playing that. So you don't have to sit down and have no conference and do the presentation, the Excel formulas. You don't have to do any of that. People can see, and they know right away she ain't going for that. Yeah. So once you set those standards, you usually don't have much work to do, because people know, don't play with you like that.
Usually. But you do have people that'll
try it.
They will test your boundaries 24/7.
Now, you can provide references for that, though. Like, you can tell them to go check with somebody about it, though. Now, you can provide references. I say no presentation, but should somebody try you, tell them you got a portfolio of references in it that'll let them know what it is.
Correct, because I have certain people. And it's usually those that are closest to you that you feel like, or they feel like, you can't sever the relationship with them because they're important.
Right.
But you have to sometimes remind people of your boundaries or things that they've crossed. But again, sometimes they legitimately forgot, didn't know, or can't. But again, choices. We all have choices. You choose what you want to accept and what you want to be a part of.
Right. And who gets to be in your life or not. And it doesn't matter who that person is. If they are toxic to you and unhealthy for you, it does not matter. You can remove people for those very reasons. And that's the only reason you need, is that you're not adding to my life, you're taking away.
Right. Whether they're family, friends, co-workers, whoever. That people to cut family, mothers, kids, whoever off if it's necessary.
Right.
Because I do agree, like I said, we need and we deserve a certain level of respect from everyone, as well as giving a certain level of respect to people. And when we say don't expect a you out of people, if you're a shitty person, then expect a you out of people.
By all means, you're getting shit back in return. Believe that. You believe that. You're getting shit back in return.
Because they do say mirror the behavior that you want to receive. So if you're a good person and then you're expecting to get good back and you're not, then yes, by all means, you have an argument here, people. So, but you can't expect everyone to be good to you. But if you're a shitty person, you can expect everybody to be shitty to you.
You definitely can. You definitely can. Don't allow yourself to be sitting in a burrow and letting people beat you down, because we all know everybody's going through something now. Yes. And we've been saying it for years, but I just really feel like since COVID, things people, everything has went down. So people are going through stuff. Nobody should sit around and let somebody beat them lower than they already are. If they're doing that, they're not meant for you. And it's just real. That it's just no other way to put it. If they are not helping you survive the day, then they just don't need to be around. We're just trying to get to the next day.
Like we said, life do be lifing, and there's going to be ups and downs for everyone. We're all going through something, like you said, especially since COVID and after COVID. Everyone is really, taking a different view on life, I think.
Yeah, and I think emotions are just out of whack and everything.
They are. And unfortunately, that's one of the reasons why I left my profession, because it was a little too much for me with personal, traumas and dramas and things that are going on in my personal life, as well as everyone going through, like COVID was going on. Then there was the war issue, and then the inflation issue, and relationships were suffering from COVID, and people were losing loved ones, and it really became quite difficult to deal with all that trauma every day, all day.
Right.
In my personal and professional life, it was just too much.
Yeah.
So I had to, preserve myself and safeguard my own sanity, because as I've said before, you can have a lot from me, but not my sanity, and choose to kind of back away from that career, because I couldn't help anybody if I'm overwhelmed, if I'm in too deep. And I felt like I was, because right now, things have really changed. It's like we've made a major shift. And I mean, it doesn't seem like anything is getting really better, but that's my perspective on things.
Right. But like you said, it was like no escape for you. It was like the work was heavy. Then our own personal lives were heavy. So it's like, okay, where's the outlet? Right. So you just have to pick and choose what's good for you.
Right. And so again, whatever's good for you, but you can't expect people to be you or to do things the way that you do them. We all are unique. We have our own way of doing things, and you either accept them as they are, or you speak and communicate your needs, and they choose to make any necessary adjustments that they can if they want to.
Right. And you have to accept what they say, whether you like it or not. You have to accept it and make a decision based on that. You don't make a decision and say, okay, I understand what you're saying, but then 2 days later you're trying to change them again, because you've had the conversation. You know what it is. So you have to be willing to go along with it.
Yeah. Accept it or not, but don't expect you out of people.
Okay, so here's a little food for thought for you to take along with you and put it in your back pocket. It's your own expectations that hurt you, not the world you live in. Whatever happens in the world is real. What you think should happen is unreal. So people are hurt by their expectations. You're not disappointed by the world. You're disappointed by your own projections. And those are wise words from J.K. Fresco.
Remember, listeners, expectations are like fine pottery. The harder you hold them, the more likely they are to crack. Thank you for tuning in. Remember, stop expecting a you out of other people. Embrace the beauty of uncertainty, and you'll find joy in every moment. Stay hopeful
and stay curious.
Before we part ways, we invite you to share your own stories, thoughts, and reflections with us. Connect with us on social media, reach out through our website, or simply leave a comment on your preferred podcast platform. Feel free to leave us in voicemail at 816-607-1243 with any thoughts, concerns, or questions that you'd like shared on Lifing 101 or just answered or addressed. If you prefer to send us an email, feel free to do so by sending it to our website, lifing101pod.com, or send us an email to info@lifing101pod.com. Your insights and experiences enrich our shared understanding of this incredible journey we're all a part of. Please subscribe to this podcast and follow our website, lifing101pod.com, and find and follow us on your favorite social media platforms. Stay hopeful, stay curious, and keep embracing the vibrant, unpredictable, and awe-inspiring journey that we call life. Goodbye for now, and may your days be filled with endless wonder.